light to break their spine and reclaim what once was mine. Those cravens backstabbed me, deceived me. Never shall I tolerate their crimes again. Now let the hunt begin. Oh, 7,000 souls scared and daunted, such a tale of woe. Not too long ago, this village was a golden scene of hope. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our Gloria to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order. I am the light bringer. Fellow warriors, I ask you, should my campaign come to an end? There's way more to avenge. Oh, 15 million souls living in this realm without much hope. Not too long ago, this kingdom was a golden state of hope. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our Gloria to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order.
to hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A
Hello and welcome back to Penn State League. We got a little bit of a special coverage for you guys here tonight with PSU White versus Rutgers JV Red in CSL Week 5. A high-stakes game if there ever was one indeed. Once again, I am Infamous Trash, going to be your solo caster here for this evening, so hopefully you all can put up with my voice for a good best-of-3 series between these two teams. Penn State White looking to keep the undefeated streak in CSL alive, whereas Rutgers also competing for those top playoff spots. With a win here, PSU does secure their spot in CSL playoffs, so definitely a big match here for them this evening. Already going through draft, we did end up doing a draft roll before this, so draft has already been pretty much completely decided prior to actually loading into client here. But picks going to come through as any would. Bans for Penn State taking away Riven from low win rate Riven. A little bit of self-explanatory there. You don't really need too much research into why that might be a good ban away. Otherwise, Lucian, Zillion hitting the bench, as well as Yone, Thresh, and Silas. And then because we've already done the third-party draft, these aren't draft shenanigans. Everyone's just picking for themselves, so this should go relatively quickly along the way. Penn State pretty much just rounding out with a team fight composition with their top three, Malphite, Diana, Yasuo. The latter two being very, very prevalent in pro play prior to the Diana jungle nerfs their initial time around. You do the Diana Yasuo. General 3 behind the strategy is you get the Diana ultimate, sucks in a whole bunch of people. Yasuo then can do his last breath, locks everyone in the ulti animation, which guarantees that Diana gets her second proc of the ult, which actually does most of the damage. He also finishes up his ult, gets his extra armor pen, all that good stuff, and a whole lot of people die. General gist of it, as Aphelios Leona just going to be supplementing that combo as well as the Malphite. Lots and lots and lots of go buttons here for Penn State. And one thing that is really cool to see with their composition, just from a first glance look, is the fact that Diana doesn't have to be primary engaged. One of the big problems we saw, especially in the LCS in North America throughout the summer split, was when you have these Dianas on your team, if they ended up being the primary engage, it generally didn't go so well. Diana does have to kind of overextend herself to really get those big plays. You're, by nature, kind of, I wouldn't say guaranteed. Guaranteed definitely isn't the right word. But you get better returns when you make riskier plays. You want to try to hit those 5-man ultimates because you get more and more damage on your ultimate when there's more people who actually get sucked in. So when you have a Diana as the primary engage, it can be very, very difficult to actually make the team work as Diana just goes in and explodes. Doesn't really do too much, but when you have something like the Malphite, like the Leona, that can kick off fights for you, and then Diana's kind of that secondary supplemental engage to come over the top and just massacre whatever's left, can be very, very scary. Especially around early objective setups like the dragon stacking, as well as around Baron fights. Now on the other side, Rutgers taking a very different line of thought here on their side. They see Diana Yasuo as the first two picks, but they decide to, you know what, let's go for a little bit of a different, let's go the global route. And so now what we have is they have a split push, a like 1-3-1 style global skirmishing composition. You have the Twisted Fate mid lane, super high priority right now, even at Worlds, has been B1able, which is not something you normally see that champion, considering there are plenty of counters for it in the meta right now, Silas being the big one that comes to mind, but has that semi-global pressure with the ultimate, can get around the map very easily, make a lot of plays. I mean, this is a champion that just kind of, it's an enabling champion. You don't pick Twisted Fate because you're going to solo carry necessarily the entire game. You're not going to be doing the most damage of any mid lane mage that you could possibly pick, but what you are guaranteeing is a backline gold card on one immobile AD carry every single fight, lest he has the cleanse. And that might be enough to pile on the damage. Now, also with that Twisted Fate, you do have the semi-global Nocturne, the Paranoia, super duper effective in the early game. Just despite having it being a nice engage tool, we're not going to kind of go in and try to burst someone down. Or if he goes more of like a Gore Drinker style build, can be a little bit more of a tanky frontline initiator. in that sense as well. But Paranoia itself, just because you can't see anything on the map, denies TP pressure from either Yasuo or Malphite, depending on who takes it, so you deny that resources away, and it just becomes so much harder to coordinate fights. Even with very good, clear communication in the comms, Paranoia wreaks havoc on a team's ability to really be able to play the game. So certainly something to see access. And then finally, last but certainly not least, you do have the true global of the Stand United from Shen, able to bring shields to whomever needs it across the map. So even if you try to punish one of these globals, in this game, going to be certainly difficult, as someone else can always join. Shen, definitely, Dude Bay. Going to be looking to get out of bot lane probably quite early on. As soon as that level 6 hits, try to make some fights, some skirmish stab, probably throw the top side off first. Rift Herald will be the likelihood. And then, again, around all these champions, you do have Jhin. Very stable bot laner, generally speaking, not a very impactful laning phase for the most part. You do have to get quite a large early lead to really feel like you're just dominating everybody, but it scales extremely well into the late game, able to do some significant damage to non-arbor stacking targets in particular. And then as well as pretty much a classic right now in top lane, the Camille. Pick is great at dueling. It is still able to be played in teamfights, and is an absolutely fantastic split push threat. And even against armor stacking champions like Malphite, who love being into AD melee champions, you end up coming across that problem where eventually Camille just starts getting a Cho'Gath ulti on a 4-second cooldown, so you're taking like 900 true damage every 3 to 4 seconds. And no matter how much health you build on Malphite, that's eventually, and probably quicker than you'd like, going to take you down. So lots and lots of tools here for RUJV to play the map. Think their composition may be slightly harder to execute in the mid to late game because you do not have that like necessarily great objective team fighting. You don't have a very stable 5v5. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. You have Twisted, you have Nocturne, but you don't really have a frontliner to initiate. Your engage tools are very situational. You either need Camille diving the backside with a Shen ulti, or 200 IQ play has to get some really good flank on the Twisted Fate and the Destiny. So lots of things have to happen for them to team fight correctly, but early skirmishing power is, quite frankly, just absolutely absurd from this team. And it will be quite fun and interesting to see what they can put together here in the early to mid game. Try to get those leads, generate that split push pressure that we'd like to see, and go from there as we load on into game. Game 1 of PSU White versus Rutgers JV Red. Hitting the Rift again. Penn State White still undefeated. Our hometown boys here on Penn State League making it happen. A little bit of change to the lineup as Jay Moores is still out. Sariel taking his place in the bot lane, and Mr. Lazy coming in the mid lane for this team at the moment. We'll have to see how they decide to play it here this evening. Gonna be looking like a 5-point for those teams. Neither team is super strong in invade level 1. You can say maybe Virus can make something happen on the Leona, but even so, do you really want to be diving into something with like a Shen taunt with Jhin lockdown as well as Twisted Fate starting gold card? Probably not. Same on the other side. You don't really want to be the ones on the invade. So there is that portion of it to consider as well. Looking over here, champions, possible rune choices. Interesting that we see Mr. Lazy actually opting for something like the Doran Shield. So definitely going to try to mitigate a lot of that early poke. 200 IQ going with this Spellbook. Twisted Fate doesn't have that many great runes at his disposal, but Spellbook's certainly one of the more popular ones. Generally, though, we see it with TP instead of Ignite. Or not Ignite, Exhaust, because with TP, you have a much longer cooldown on the actual Summoner spell itself throughout the game. So you don't necessarily need it up as often, so you can use your TP and then switch to your Spellbook Summoner spell, so you get more rotations of actual spells off. The thing we generally see in Pro, but Exhaust definitely something like see does a lot of work, especially versus Korean gank on Diana. It's very hard to play a dive kind of bursty champion when 30% of your damage just gets cut immediately from the get-go. So other than that, not too much in awkward rune choices here. Everyone else pretty much going with the standard. Duckling's electing for the Poke Malphite in top lane. And it looks like both junglers going to be, at least for the time being, starting with that full clear. Of course, Lumi Biz Rhino. I apologize in advance for the Rutgers fans here about names. Sometimes it's a little bit interesting. But opting for the full clear, Nocturne wants to hit that level 6 as quickly as possible, get the Paranoia access. Same thing with Korean gank, really looking for that level 6 play, as level 2's in the bot lane, hit here by Rutgers, is going to result in some small scale trading, nothing too crazy as of yet. And with that, we just kind of go back to normal lane states. Nothing super interesting here, nothing super out of the ordinary. Just some farming and some chilling and all on all sides. Interesting path actually by Lumi. Actually goes around the Wolves. I think was doing a little bit of delaying there, seeing if Mr. Lazy is gonna try to in on 200 IQ plays. And now, not too much else as of note. Both these junglers, and Diana does have the faster clear here off the start, so we're going skips the Krugs. Top lane though, quite shoved in. Not gonna be able to get too much done up there yet. Pull some insurance here. Make sure that Duck Wings can force his way under tower and get it to crash. Has burned through all of his corrupting potions to do so, so is quite vulnerable in the lane now. Can't get poked out, is a little bit more reliant on mana than your average top laner for spellcast, especially when you run this kind of Comet build. But it will be top crab secured for the side of Penn State White, so a good start here for Korean Gate getting that first objective. However, both junglers possibly looking to go straight for the second crab. 200 IQ knows that he might be at a disadvantage here in mid. Pops. No, doesn't get a carb just yet. Still cycling through. Eventually gets the gold, but it's a little bit too late. Still had to burn the flash from the get-go. Looking to possibly extend, but Dude Bay doesn't have an angle for the Shadow Dash, and that will not be it. Actually, might get off the face check. Korean Gang snuffs it out, though. Flash Taunt does not connect. And Korean Gang going to be able to walk out of this one for free. Going back in. Dude Bay, still okay. Has Lumi there. The only Virus Stone Serial also rotating up here. Flash, set it blade. Spell shield by Lumi. Dude Bay now in trouble as he is under threat. Spear Tucker is doing a little bit of work, but the exhaust comes down. And with 1Q kill, that's Sariel picking up first blood, as well as a 2-crab start here for Korean Gank on the Diana. And you could not ask for more as Penn State in this early game. Jungle is very far ahead in XP now with the double crab. You get first blood onto your scaling AD carry. 200 IQ in trouble. Mr. Lazy looking for the 1v1 dive. Tower and exhaust are down. 200 IQ barely survives. Virus though looking. Zenith Blade Q. And Leona will grab the kill. Fantastic aroma off the reset timer to the AD carry. And it's yet another one for Penn State. 200 IQ gonna be missing that exhaust for now. Of course, kill gold does go on Leona, so not as effective as Penn State might have wanted. Mr. Lazy certainly would have loved the solo kill, but nonetheless going to get quite a bit of XP advantage here. Lumi just going to have to go and pick up on some of this farm and XP that's left over in the mid lane. Unfortunately, 200 Q doesn't have the Destiny up available yet, doesn't have that quick TP back to lane. Spellbook's still down, so not much that he can do at this point to try to recover that. And Penn State gonna put themselves at a cool 700 gold lead. Nothing substantial at 530, but certainly something they like to line their pockets with. Get the Berserker Greaves Rust for Sariel on the bot lane to get some more attack speed down, as looks like the only Virus is just gonna go for the more tanky build, not gonna go for the super high speed roams of the Moby Boots, electing instead for the Ninja Tabi. So just trying to go be that tanky frontliner for Penn State, trying to be that initial engage that we talked about when we were going over draft, and really set up Korean Gank and Mr. Lazy to pop off for those huge wombo combo style of team fights. Both junglers now though getting through their second clear here. Lumi does get a little bit of tempo off of that crab, as Korean Gank had to stay on the map for quite a bit of time, so is just getting his first clear of Krugs now, whereas it is 2 straight full clears for Lumi. So up about a camp, should be about equalized here as Korean Gank clears his Raptors. And after that, not looking like too much here. Level 6 is coming in for the solo lane, so might be looking at a Destiny here and about another wave of XP. Nope, just ticks it right there, so less than a wave in fact. And TPs both blown by respective top laners. Gonna be keeping it even. And without those TPs, at the very least, not gonna be a 5v5 for this first dragon. As time continues to take, neither team really looking at this point to start that soul stacking venture. Level 6 though, obtained by Korean Gank. Has the XP from both crabs. That advantage shall net him the early ultimate secure. And it looks like he will start to solo the Cloud Drake. So Penn State gonna be grabbing this first one. Looks like uncontested here, although Paranoia is available for Nocturne. And I have a fire alarm going off in my building, so I will leave you guys here with the game, and Cass will resume here in just a minute.
Fighting back. Looks like I missed the spot. I didn't say you could leave. future favors the versatile. This will be over in a moment. Blue team's turret has been destroyed. Turret plating will soon fall. Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Alright folks, thank you for your patience as my building is in fact not burning down, was a false alarm. So we are back on the casting side of things. I have picked up a buddy through the fake flames over this side. Next radio, welcome to the cast.
Hey buddy, I guess you can say we are back now, huh? Can't you?
Yep, I can indeed. I'll turn you up a little bit here, a little bit quiet on my end, which is no problem. There we go.
Yeah, so I just got back here, and what in the heck am I looking at, Dom?
I don't know either, because I've been gone for around the last 5 minutes of this game, but Penn State suddenly goes from a 700 gold lead the last I checked in to a about 6,000 gold lead, about five and some change, 5.5 some change, but otherwise Penn State White doing very successfully here in their game against Rutgers. 2-0 on Duckwings, 4-0 on Diana. Maybe chat can give me the good old-fashioned recap once this part catches up. We do have a 2-minute stream delay, so they'll get to this part of the video eventually, or the stream eventually. They can tell me what the heck happened, but Penn State doing extremely well for themselves. So
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I just got here. I am loving what I'm seeing coming out of here from Penn State. You've got this Malphite to miss with this Yasuo. Everybody just wants to go in. Like, it's amazing. And on the other side, we have all these globals coming out of, who are we up against? I forget, sorry.
Rutgers.
Rutgers, okay. They're
Rutgers
coming with
JV
this global
Red
comp, and
CSL.
it doesn't seem to be working out all that well for them. Gotta love the simplicity of push hard and go in comp.
Simple, sweet, and stupid, baby. Those are the comps that make the world go round now.
Even the best players can mess things up, so why play comps that you can mess up?
Yep. Now we do get the Herald here. Forward to the side of Rutgers JV. It looks a little bit against the pace of Penn State. Not really in a position to contest, and therefore just won't bother. They're going to push down here on mid lane. They already got their 2 dragons stacking up. They have a massive gold lead. Not going to look to flip it over an ill-conceived fight. And with that, Rutgers do manage to milk out some kind of advantage. And I mean, again, I can't say for sure, but it looks like the early skirmishing power of the multi-global competition didn't necessarily work in Rutgers' favor. Penn State able to find some fights. I would have to assume by the score lines on these champions.
Also, you can look at the Dragon score. It's 2-0 to Penn State. And your global comps, you have to be dragging people all the way around the map if you want to try to get those dragons. And it looks like, from my perspective, that is not what Rutgers has been doing this game. Instead, you can just walk in there with your big team fighting team from Penn State and just get easy peasy dragons and set up to win this game, man.
Yep, first to the objective is going to be quite a boon for the Penn State White squad as they come on through here.
Also, you've got to take a look. We got a pair of shield bows already done here for Penn State. Like, I guess there's a lot of mythics coming out from both sides, but
yep.
Actually, Duckwing's just finishing up his Frostfire Gauntlet up there. So Penn State's got the item advantage, but they're just gonna be so hard to kill with all of those Immortal Shield bows. Like, it's gonna be so hard for Rutgers to try to get any sort of a comeback.
Absolutely no heal cut from the side of Rutgers just yet. Can't delay that itemization right now. Can't afford to pay the tax. And because of that, Penn State gonna grab a free dragon. Like that Rutgers understands their position, understands their composition. Like, hey guys, we do not 5v5 ever. Wasn't the game plan going into it. We sure as heck aren't doing it from a deficit, so we're gonna give them this Drake. We can give this one up. Let's try to get some farm, some pressure in our side lanes. Try to get this next item break point, and then continue to try to fight our way back in this game. And you still have the scaling tools. You still have a lot of options to go with here. Your comp is insanely good at finding picks. So if anyone from the side of Penn State White is just a little bit out of position on that sideline, a little overextended, Mr. Lazy possibly a comfort here. No, it's actually going to be top on Duckwings. Low win rate Riven. Does follow the flash of the ultimate. Yep, Duckwings is not long for his load. Has unstoppable force, but here comes Korean Gang. There's 200 IQ in as well, and here comes the Stand United, and United Rutgers does stand as that. The only virus coming here a little late. Sariel trying to buy some more time, but Virus is just so darn tanky. Moonlight Vigil finds its way under 2, but 200 IQ still okay for now. Shots coming in here from the curtain call. Gonna tag up. Virus going very low. Low win rate. Ribbon trying to finish him off, but Sariel in with the crescendo. Does so much work. It's a double kill from him, but finally, I Hate Rutgers comes and does his namesake proud and picks up the last one. But with Riptail top lane, it looks like it's going to be the inhibitor turret down in bot lane secured for Penn State White. Mr. Lazy not even involved in Penn State after a staggered fight. Still going to come out up 6K, but I mean, that's the power of your semi-globals there. Everyone just keeps on coming and piling on.
Absolutely, and then actually kind of a weird turn of events. The Penn State team was the one that was a little more split up there. They had the split pushing Mr. Lazy on there in Yasuo. The problem is, the gold lead's just so fat that even though there were lots of kills left in top lane and a generally good fight for Rutgers, Penn State got a lot of turrets and a lot more gold in their pocket off it as well. The gold lead now is, I guess we're still running 6,500, but that just points out the difference is that all these kills that they just got top lane didn't give them any sort of lead, and now Penn State has a bit more of a macro advantage with bottom lane turrets falling down.
Yep, and I mean, you're still on Soul Point from Penn State, so you have that kind of definitive factor where, like, hey, you have to contest us at this 4th Drake. You have 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and we are going to 5v5 you. You're not going to get globals. You're not going to be getting picks on us. We can group up, walk into river, clear out our vision, and you are going to have to fight us straight up front, or at the very best in your situation, take an honorable flip. But
and it's a terrible Drake for Rutgers. They do not want to see anything like a Malphite and a Leona with a Mountain Drake. That's just, they'll never die. What's going to happen?
Yeah, is going to be true. I mean, luckily, Lumi, going a bit more of the Bruiser Nocturne here, is the Stride Breaker build, so not necessarily looking for like a one-shot style of play, same with TF, but in terms of their consistent damage, you're right, on Leona, on Malphite, I Hate Rutgers going to have a really hard time the generally getting through. I mean, already itemizing pretty much by necessity the Lord Dominic's Regard in the 2nd slot. It's pretty standard for any AD carry at this point in the meta, but even with that, it's going to be very hard to cut down these big boys for the Jhin. You're going to be relying a lot on that consistent damage from low win rate Riven up on the Camille.
As I take a Grievous Wounds check, Nocturne's the only one, any form of Grievous Wounds coming out of Rutgers. Got a fight him out here though. Camille hopping onto Malphite, but he doesn't care. He's just a rock. He'll walk away. Easy peasy. Not even Shen able to help with that. Nocturne doesn't want to go in.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to what I was saying. Besides for the Ignite on Shen and the Grievous Wounds coming off of like Nocturne, there's just no way to cut through the healing coming out of the Yasuo and the Aphelios either. It's just, oof. Stick a fork in it. I think this is done.
Still possible here. 7K is quite A tough position to be in here. Dragon still only 50 seconds out. Duckwings does have the TP to join his team, and this time Penn State gonna have the keystone here for a lot of their combos with Mr. Lazy with that last breath on Yasuo. In with the fight, not gonna be just split pushing down on the bot side of the map for this one. So I mean, Rutgers, you do have the option just to give this one up, just to concede the Mountain Soul. But at what point afterwards are you going to look to fight? You already have an open bot lane inhibitor. They're probably going to be able to fight 5v5 for Baron as well once you give them such a buff. So it does end up falling over here to Penn State. Mr. Lazy might reveal their position with the Scryers. Bloom, Korean gank. Staying silent in the brush for now. Just going to blast cone over. Not going to go for the engages yet. Only Virus and Sario are spotted out. But as for the rest of the team, it is Rutgers in the dark.
Do you think that Scar's Bloom was a bait? Because they just dropped it where they were standing.
Potentially. Now, Wards pushed out. Dragons already down to 2k. There comes the paranoia, but the smite's already through. It's way too late. And Lumi, it was an honorable effort with Dude Bay in with the Stand United, but you stand united in the gray screen. That's going to be 2 kills. An easy Dragon and an easy Baron for Penn State White. I don't see Rutgers contesting this one now. The soul is over. Still 5 strong on Penn State. Not even any important cooldowns really burned. Still every single ultimate and summoner available. And still Lumi and Dude Bay go down with 2 ultimates burned on their end. So will be the free Baron here for Penn State. Gold lead going to continue to accelerate. And now with the permanent Mountain Soul buff onto Penn State White. Matter of time, some might say, before this one closes out.
Matter of time indeed. They just have to recall, spend their money, and come out on the rift here. And I think they're going to have their choice of which objective they want. Whether they want to go to the bottom lane and take out an inhibitor, or push into maybe these Nexus turrets instead in the top and mid lane. Actually, as I say that, looks like they're starting to deploy down towards the bottom side, at least with Malphite, who does have teleport, so that doesn't actually tell us anything. But Leanne's pinning out the bottom side of the jungle as well, and the fellow's just catching mid, so I guess this is going for more of a split kind of idea here for the Baron all around the map. I don't know if I like that so much.
Yeah, really hard for Penn State, even with the gold lead they have, even with the Baron and the Mountain Soul, to like... The optimal use of Baron is you have 3 synced waves of Baron minions. Your enemy has to choose where they want to go. You're not, especially with an AD carry like Jhin, going to be able to clear out multiple waves of Baroned up minions. It's just not possible. You don't have the damage. However, with the composition that Rutgers is running, they have such a great ability to collapse on you if you're alone on one of these sidelines. Even Duckwings on something as tanky as the Malphite really doesn't have anywhere to go once some ultimates start getting channeled, especially if you have low win rate ribbon pulling a TP play, or is just the initiator even in that side selection of the map. So Penn State, while I think they would like to be able to levy waves in bot, mid, and top and just kind of continue to force these down, you still have the outer tier 2 in top lane. That is probably the main objective here for Mr. Lazy to bring down. Has Virus up here for support, rotating over Sario right now. It's very, very hard for them to do so with the amount of globals available to the side of Rutgers now. Possibly looking as here comes the engage. Taunt lands down. Mr. Lazy caught out. Virus has no way to help and shut down for low win rate. Curtain call can be popped, but not sure how much he's gonna do. Paranoia, awesome channel. Sario grabs one, stunned up, taken low, but not taken out. The shield bow makes it happen as Duckwings teleporting in from the bot side, finds himself on the backside. High 8 Rutgers flashing away for now, but Korean gank and hot pursued. There's the ultimate and another kill. Goes godlike, and it was very, very close. The pick on Mr. Lazy was excellent. CC was beautiful from Rutgers, but in the end, the wallets are just a bit too heavy from Penn State. They can't deal enough damage to get through Sario, the Mountain Soul shield, as well as the Cleanse Flash plus shield bow proc. And with that, Penn State just gonna look for the end here. Has only the next turrets in their wake.
Yeah, now that last fight went almost perfectly for Rutgers, or at least as well as they could expect given the gold difference.
Oh, but one last base defense here. Low win rate event has respawned. This is your carry, this is your fast damage, but Sario has the great guns, and he will DPS down the Nexus. Penn State gonna take their first game of this series. They're up to match point.
Yeah, continuing off what I was saying there, Penn State, or Rutgers got a really good engagement there on Penn State. They got Mr. Lazy down almost instantaneously. The problem was Malphite had his teleport and came in and just ultimate onto the Jhin and cut away a lot of Rutgers damage. So even though Mr. Lazy was out of the fight, you know, a gold ahead of Felios was more than enough to clean up the other three champions that were actually fighting against the other three Penn State rather. So really good play there by Duckwings. He probably did make sure that fight was a win, because otherwise that was a potential one team fight there for Rutgers. But
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that's the power of the globals is once someone gets on top of you, the rest are going to be coming shortly thereafter with the Staying United, with the Destiny. It's just kind of a pile-on mentality. Unfortunately, like I said, it just once you get to a certain point in the gold lead, it's too much to come back from. You have such a hard time actually finding these kills, finding the damage through Mountain Soul as well to really make this kind of stuff happen. So it's just extremely difficult to pull off. You kind of need a miracle. Luckily for Penn State, that miracle was a long ways away as Duckwings did have the teleport. So not too terribly hard here for Penn State to close out. And
no,
with
absolutely.
that,
And
yeah, I mean, cleanly
think
played
right
game by Penn
now-
State.
Yeah, and these days though, I think the global comps are really difficult to pull off. So I think it was really ballsy for Rutgers to try to pull out that comp. But the simplicity of Penn State, just putting all 5 people or all 4 people onto dragons, taking the dragons, and then from there having an overwhelming advantage, enough to win the game. That's just how I think League is played these days. I'm interested to see whether or not there will be any adjustments in champions select, knowing like that, or if they just prefer this global style. Maybe it works for them.
I'll say it affords you a lot of opportunities in the early game if you can pull off, like, you essentially post level 6, once you get those ultimates inbound, you have an enormous amount of versatility around the map where you can always kind of levy that odd numbered advantage for fights.
Mm-hmm.
So you can pretty much make it a situation, if it's a 2v2, it becomes a 3v2, it becomes a 4v2, it becomes a 4v3, whatever it needs to be. You always have that kind of like man up the chain. And one of the big things with when you have a global on your team, like a Shen up in top lane or like a TF in mid, one of the best ways you can punish those kind of compositions is you just target where the global is. So you permagank mid or you permagank the top lane wherever the global exists, and then you therefore can go around the map without having to worry about it too much. You've already put that person so far behind that they can't participate in the game anymore. But when you have multiple globals like this, it's never really the case because somebody else is always coming up. So that's the theory behind it. Again, Penn State, I couldn't see it because false alarm. Someone burned their popcorn, I guess, or something in my building. So had the fire alarm situation. So definitely something to think about. But that'll be pretty much all we got here for Game 1. We'll be waiting for Game 2 to start up here in just a few minutes' time. I'm going to take a little bit of break on the cast. So we'll be right back here with coverage of Game 2. I'm not going to reset the timer just because I don't know exactly how long it's going to be. We have another draft phase to go through. So once they start the actual third-party draft, I'll start the countdown because I'll have a better idea of when we're actually going here for Game 2. But yep, top 4 match here for CSL will continue. Undefeated Penn State White still looking to lock in their playoffs versus Rutgers. And we will be back with you guys in just a few minutes, so sit tight. All right, hello and welcome back to Penn State League and our coverage of CSL Week 5. We have Penn State White versus Rutgers JV Red. Here this evening, two of the top teams in CSL. It's a top 4 matchup. I believe both these teams are currently sitting at 4-0, so quite impressive on the record side of things. However, so far in our best of 3, Penn State White getting the better of the matchup as they advanced 1-0 in what seems to be quite a dominant Team 1 performance. Or Game 1 performance.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That was very, very final in the way that game went out. At one point, I think I called it even and said that, it's done, and it was just kind of done. Penn State didn't give the opening for Rutgers to actually get a comeback in that game. So, fantastic play coming out of Penn State there. I mean, both teams, I should always say that. But Penn State really, really showed up to play that game, and it showed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, you can always bring up something about the draft where Penn State did have the significantly easier execution comp. I mean, you have Malphite, Leona, Yasuo, Diana. You press your R keys in the team fight, and you kind of just win as long as you had your mouse vaguely over an enemy champion. So
yeah, the combo just writes itself there, doesn't it? And the combos are.
Yeah. When you're looking to play these guys, this isn't the pro level. This is an amateur collegiate style of team. So while all these players are extremely good at the game, we aren't expecting anything like super perfection from these guys. So when you have these simple team fight compositions that play around the objectives so well, it's very, very effective, as we see. As you can, as soon as you get that early lead, just shut another team out of a game if they're not also drafting for that team fight or don't have certain scaling elements. And although Rutgers did draft some of those in Game 1, certainly far from the side of perfect in terms of how that ended up going down. A few early skirmishes didn't go their way. Penn State gets to an early gold lead, and after that, you don't have much of a chance to contest objectives. Now, you do see Rutgers make some great picks with their global composition. Again, can be very effective at skirmishing. You always can invoke a numbers advantage somewhere on the map, but it's just much more difficult to play out because you don't have that 5v5 power. So you really have to be looking for picks and other plays before you can set up for the objective. And while that's very hard, we've already seen how the draft went as we got to see the draft logo through. Unfortunately, don't have a graphic for that one just yet. But we can get to the in-client draft where we go through picks and bans yet again.
Yeah, and I'm really liking the drafts that both teams have picked now. It's not quite as one-sided as the last one in terms of ease of execution. Both teams have some ways to mess up and some very strong picks to it. So I'm really excited to see this game coming out here. Yeah,
definitely shall be interesting. I mean, you already see very different style from Penn State going to Game 2 as Duckwings piloting the Fiora pick. We got to see the old LPL Fiora back in the group stage of Worlds. LNG pulling that one out, I believe. Was extremely effective for their top set map with Ale. So hopefully we can see Duckwings do the same here. Sorry for those Rutgers fans in the chat. This is Penn State channel, so we are a little biased. And it looks like Rutgers going to the very interesting triple AD topside with the Graves, Camille, and Akshan.
Yeah, of course, that always has the downside of just build Ninja Tabby or played steel caps nowadays. And you'll get, some sort of a good advantage coming out of that in terms of damage and trades and whatnot. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal now looking at these compositions. Neither team going particularly bulky. I think the chunkiest boy in this game is Set right now, and he's more of a fighter than a straight-up tank like a Malphite was in the last game. So itemizing for full defense isn't really going to happen early, and you're going to want to be getting some damage in on your kit. So they can kind of get away with the full AD top side, but it is still a bit of a downside if plated steel caps come out from Penn State.
I mean, yeah, that's one of those things where, yes, you still have I Hate Rutgers on the Ziggs and bot, that is your AP, but when you have these triple AD top sides, it just, as soon as Duckwings or Korean Gank actually get their hands on some Ninja Tabi, and even just any base armor item, it is so hard to take these guys down in those early topside fights. You end up giving a lot of that 2v2 topside power over to the side of Penn State White. Yes, you still have plenty of AP in the Ziggs later on, but it is significantly harder to work with. Now, on the side of Penn State, again, a little bit of interesting drafting. I mean, you have something in the Fiora, which has to split push. Fiora, while you can, by technicality, team fight, is extremely difficult to pull off. So, is a little bit of an interesting pick for the side of Penn State, considering the team fighting looks so good for them in game 1. Not necessarily needing to necessarily change that much. And then you also then have like team fight component. Like you have the Misfortune, while yes, being very strong in the meta and just a need to pick kind of champion, was B1 for PSU, so did opt into the Misfortune very early on. Is still with the Orianna, you're looking for those team fight styles of play. You're looking for big shockwave setup into something like the Bullet Time, but then you have Only Virus playing Pyke, which is a very big roam heavy like pick style of champion. Duckwing is gonna be up in top lane. You have a Lee Sin, which to be fair kind of fits in with every kind of composition, but that's a Lee Sin problem. That's not a necessarily composition issue. It's both of these teams have very awkward styles of play, whereas Rutgers has the triple AD top side, which yes can teamfight very well, is looking for more of like a lane dominant, kind of bully out the top side of the map, then push through with your gold lead around objectives with the help of Ziggs and bot lane to really dish out that range damage, especially on zone control for the Lee and Pyke, because Penn State do have a bit of a harder time setting up around objectives. They don't really have that beefy frontliner like you're going to get out of RUJV on the set. So will be a little bit harder for Penn State to do that, but on the same coin, like, you have triple AD topside, armor itemization is going to be ludicrously valuable for Penn State early on, especially if you're on those top 3 champions. You're really relying on I Hate Rutgers to do a lot of your late game burst damage, and even with the Ziggs pick supplementing your AP, you don't really have that normal setup we see for the Ziggs. You don't have something like Leona, you don't have something like the J4 that really sets up these big Zig bombs. You do have Camille, which helps a lot, but other than that, your only CC option is really just Dude Bay on the set. Here, there's not a ton of setup. Outside low win rate Riven getting a huge ulti onto a priority target like Sariel, like Lazy, to really set this up. So, it's definitely going to be very interesting to see how these two teams decide to play this out, as the draft's a lot less cut and dry.
Yeah, I think that Fiora pick was definitely a lane-specific pick here. Penn State trying to get ahead in all their lanes by the looks of it. Because like you're saying, there's just so little synergy coming up between those champions. Now, granted, Pyke and Lee Sin are both fantastic ball carriers, but that's just for getting the ball in. Pyke probably doesn't want to go jumping into the middle of a team halfway through the game. That just sounds like you're going to have one fewer champion, in order to get your ball in the middle there. So it's an awkward composition coming out from Penn State there.
Yeah. Both sides,
but if I can say, I'm really excited for the Yakshan.
Yeah, it has not been one of those champions we've gotten to see in competitive just yet. Isn't available at Worlds, I don't believe, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken on that point. Someone in chat can more than happily correct me. However, is certainly going to be an interesting one to see Penn State play out. Again, it's just like this. We had the cut and dry game 1. We knew what both of these teams wanted to do. We knew exactly how the game was going to be played, pretty much just from champions. Like this time, relies a lot more on the lane matchups, relies a lot more on who gets these early advantages, can find the advantageous fights, because once you get in that mid game, whoever has the gold lead is going to have a much easier time playing the game. I know, kind of obvious, but by virtue of neither of these teams really having a set identity.
Yeah, and the team fights, due to a lack of general lockdown, are going to be really, really scrappy, I would expect. It's going to be so hard for Orianna to get multi-person ults, I think, unless Rutgers just kind of hands it to him, which is not a position that you want to be in. Now, there are things like insect kicks as well coming out from these sets, so there are setups for Penn State, but yeah, it's just... Whew! It's going to be a doozy.
Yep, as we get into game here, fix the spectator bug. Fog of Wars. There we go. All right. Fix spectator bug where people show up invisible, but we do have Rutgers going for a little bit of trickery, as Penn State doing the opposite trickery the exact same way on the top side of the map. So both of these teams going for the late red buff invades. It looks like Rutgers is just going to stick around for this one, though. So Penn State, if they don't take this red buff, don't have the vision. They don't necessarily know what Rutgers is up to. They can probably assume they got invaded on based on the fact that no one's gone to ward or they didn't encounter anybody here up on the top side. So yeah, we'll stick around. And that means that we are going to get some good old vertical jungling, where you have that top side of the map over to Penn State, and bot side of the map going to be ruled by Rutgers. If I have to say it favors one, probably favors Penn State in the early game. Get Ducklings a lot of early advantages here. Has that extra jungle pressure to be able to push up on the Fiora. Definitely what you want to see. Yep, with that little E from MF. Sario going to peek out on the red invade, so should be quite known on the vertical jungling front here. Is Ducklings in low win rate river, just doing some trading. Ducklings can kind of trade with impunity throughout this early portion. Does burn the pot early as well.
Yeah, and Misfortune, or Serial, sorry, dropping a really good, important ward there over the buff at red, or over the wall at the red buff, allows both teams to know where both junglers started. Originally, the division was entirely coming out of Rutgers there, but now we know exactly where Graves is. They're going to know that he's clearing out these Krugs right now. So very important, the vertical jungling can commence. Ooh, the bottom lane comes up. Bullies him off those Krugs there. Mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, interesting, though, that we do see Korean Gang just opting the red buff, doesn't decide to steal away the enemy Raptors or Krug camp, despite having the top pressure to easily do so. So it is going to be two-camp advantage here for Lumi, as he gets a little bit of the Krugs to go through. Sario did pick up a few of those in return, but Korean Gang definitely going to be set behind a little bit without any of his bot side camps. So only really gets like 1.5 quadrant for the XP and such. And I'd like him to stay on the top side here, try to get that top side crab where he has the priority top, where he can get the priority in mid lane. I want to see how that jungle path continues to go here. Is Lumi now can just go into a full clear of the rest of his camp, only really missing the red buff. Has plenty of room and time to work with here. His first crab just spawning. Looks like Korean Gang's gonna go for top side, just gonna be the handshake here, sticking to that vertical path. And it's just gonna be a little bit of a slow burn here for the start of game 2. Again, very high stakes game here. Penn State, with a win, secures themselves a spot in playoffs and continues their undefeated streak in CSL. So does make them go kind of all the way here. Secures your post regular season, gets you the wins, makes you look strong, continue the undefeated streak. Rutgers looking to mostly do the same, but is a little bit further away as they have to go for the, I don't know if I call it a reverse sweep in a best of 3, but essentially the reverse sweep, win these next 2 games. I mean, so far, fairly decent start. Has a lot of options again. Jungle advantage going to go to Lumi here in the early game. As Korean Gang just going to be down on that XP as he has no camps to really go to. Nothing really responding. Raptors only just coming up right now. So it is going to be a bit of a waiting game here for the Penn State jungler. Might need to try to force something here, preferably in the middle lane, as 200 IQ very extended here in the matchup versus Oriana.
Now this is a small point though, but when we look at the pathing of both junglers, Penn State's jungle was the one that was cleared first, so you're going to see all of Lee Sin's camps coming up at higher levels sooner. So while he is behind right now in EXP, he might actually get a slight lead.
Stun, has the vital, but the ignite down, still the first blood. Despite the jungle gank, is 200 IQ flashing away, gets hit by the sonic wave, gets a little bit of dash, gets some damage. Korean gank goes down, and 200 IQ has just enough brain power to min-max that one out. Grabs this trade kill mid, and it ends up being a 1-for-1 cross map. Though big win there for Ducklings, the top lane. Fiora already with the early advantage.
The botched gank aside, if that had gone even 1-for-1, that would have been Lee Sin using his empty jungle as time to gank, and that would have basically negated the fact that he was down a couple camps from Graves. But as it was, 200 IQ lives up to his name and gets the kill in the mid lane in a 2v1. Very good there.
Yep, use the passive for that little bit of extra move speed. Just got out of the auto range from Mr. Lazy's. Ducklings in trouble. Already used the repost. Gets away with the dash, but is very low. Still low win rate driven. Doesn't have the ignite up. Can't force this one. Duckwings has the TP if he can get a reset off. This is quite a big wave, but Korean Gank might be looking for the namesake. As big minion
level
wave
6
here,
advantage
so
coming out of Fiora.
Yep, has a level 6, but does he have the damage here with Lee Sin? Ducklings flashes in, puts down the grand challenge. Korean Gank just going to tank it, but they kind of realize a little bit too late that it's just not enough. As Korean Gank very low. 200 IQ, looking up in the river. Low win rate Riven has the hook shot available. Korean
Low
gank.
win rate
Finds like
Riven
but the
smells blood.
execute! Oh, the animation didn't show through the wall, and Korean gank goes down. And beautiful roam up from the Rutgers mid laner, secures himself an easy kill, and now it might be a diving on Ducklings. They know he doesn't have the grand challenge. Low win rate Riven. Poked a little bit low, but here comes 200 IQ. Good repost from Duckwings. Means that not a lot of damage coming out of that one, so we'll just be continual pressure here at top as low win rate Riven. Walking up, 200 IQ has support. Mr. Lazy in mid here on the Orianna, can't move, knows the set is missing. And big moves here from Rutgers. Still down 200 gold, but they get the dragon, they get some pressure top lane, and they're, most importantly, they're putting Korean gank in the hole.
Yeah, and that Akshan 2-0, he's already been making plays. I said I was excited to see it. And 200 IQ is coming out swinging with this Akshan, getting a bit of a trade in here against the Orianna, but he's going to walk away. There's three people that he wants nothing to do with that.
Finds the flash, bone skewer, the Sonic Wave connects, and Korean gank. We were just talking him down, finds one in the middle lane. Very nice enough. That is a ballsy play from Virus. Those flash bone skewers are by no means guaranteed. Definitely doesn't have the wonky hitbox like a Zenith Blade, but hey, gets the job done, puts 200 IQ down. He's going to lose that entire way mid lane, so the CS lead going to grow here for the side of Mr. Lazy. The Orianna looking good as we continue into this early game. Top lane, though. Might not be as big as LPL Fiora, where we had a Flame Horizon at 18 minutes, but it's certainly a lead nonetheless. 20 CS up, should come down a little bit as this big wave crashes into the tower. Has the Iron Spike whip just into Grievous Wound, so only an Executioners for low win rate Riven. So a tongue twister. Despite even having the Ignite, so kind of almost doubling down on the anti-healing.
Akshan sneaking up again.
Yeah, looking for the gank. I mean, there is a control ward here, so we'll be spotted out regardless of invisibility. So Duckwings should be totally fine. Lumi also in the area. Can't do too terribly much right now. And all in all, Penn State's still coming out with a 1,000 gold lead after all this, despite the early kills on to... Oh, beautiful W from Rutgers there to displace the Bone Secure.
Now, Rutgers did a really good job in the early game trying to make sure that the Fiora, who got off to a really early kill and CS lead, didn't get back to spend it for a while. So now we're seeing the difference now that Fiora has got this reset off and she is ahead. Like, this is scary.
Ooh,
and you saw them, they had some three people up there just to try to help out.
Yeah, I mean, and Duckwing's still looking more than happy to play out this lane, beautifully reposting most of the true damage here from low win rate Riven. As hook lands, it's on to Dude Bane, not necessarily target you once, set quite a tanky fellow. Lots of regen.
You know, while I'm sitting here, the Amumu wasn't banned. I do wonder what made it so that Penn State didn't want to go for the Curse of the Said Bulletin combo there. That would have comboed really well with Orianna's ball as well.
Support got turbo nerfed on this patch.
Oh, did the patch come out without me noticing?
This is, yeah, I think you're thinking of World's patch. It was the current patch that we're on, which is 20. Oh, I say that called Execute. Sariel dodges the tower, blocks those. The bomb not gonna connect her now. Near sighted. Sariel's still alive. The virus finds one as 200 IQ finds another, but Mr. Lazy flashing forward finds the shockwave, and now 200 IQ. He's jumping in, but it's on the wrong side of the rip. Finds the revive. Can't get away just yet. Mr. Lazy looking, finds it with a command attack. And despite Dude Bay coming back up, he still went down initially. So the gold, the damage is done. And Duckwing's still getting even more plates, more gold into this Fiora on the top side of the map. So all in all, 2 for 1 in favor of Penn State in the bot lane, despite the dive coming through.
You don't want that.
Nope, it's Duckwing.
There's a Fiora in that bush.
Yeah, I think he had suspicions. Was just stopping the recall. As now though, repost, not gonna land. Stun comes through. There comes the Hex that calls him in, but here comes the Grand Challenge. Can Duckwings outplay? No, the Ignite does way too much, and that's a huge kill for Rutgers. Low win rate Riven looking to try to get back into form in this top lane. Duckwings had the back disadvantage. He didn't have the gold spent. Whereas low win rate Riven sitting on that Sheen does so much more damage, I think, than Duckwings was expecting with the miss repost. Able to secure that kill, and now still slightly less than a 2k gold lead for Penn State, so farming up extremely well. 20 CS leads here in mid lane, jungle about even, CS lead at top, CS lead at bot. just generally farming up very well across the map to even this one out.
And the patience coming out of the low win rate Riven to wait out that riposte from Duckwings was really critical there. It's supposed to be a pretty easy thing to riposte Camille if she tries to jump on you, but Duckwings looks like he's more predicting than reacting, and I don't know if that's the right move.
The curse of NA ping and solo queue. You're just used to having to pop it early.
Fair enough.
Even though we are still playing on the same ping, so it's kind of, 50-50. But second dragon here secured as well for Rutgers. Grabbing both of these off this ginormous early drop pressure. TP has to be used. Those 200 IQ in some trouble here. Korean gank down. Command attack there. Shockwave doesn't connect entirely. And now 200 IQ does manage to get away. Barely living. I believe his passive shield doing most of the work for that one. Sario left in the bot lane here. Do some trading. Low win rate Riven and Duckwings in their normal dance here. There's a little dodge away plus a vital proc. Duckwings playing that one very nice. Can just look for turret at this point as well.
Yeah, it's back in the position where win rate Riven has to respect Duckwings' advantage. So what you'll see here is just trying to farm, try to get a reset, and then try to fight again like last time. It worked so well, so I'd like to see win rate Riven try that again, but the other option, of course, is just overload top lane and kill Fiora.
Yeah, it hasn't been working so far, and it doesn't look like it'll work again as Duckwings is just going to back off. Has been doing fantastically with the vision control up and top side. Hasn't been a problem for him thus far. Low win Riven does have the level advantage off of that last solo kill. Duckwings finally going to even it out, and this top side a little bit more even, I think, than Penn State would like, as Camille definitely can be a force to be reckoned with the side lane as well as Fiora. Of course, Fiora does win later. The game goes on. This champion is just insane in 1v1s. However, might be Penn State White's turn to overload topside. Has Virus brought up here as well as Korean Gang. Possibly just go looking for the shield out as, yep, here comes the repeat try. Dude Bay just walking up here. There's the Bone Skewer. Korean Gang finds his way onto Lumi with the Sonic Wave. Duckwings flashing in. Immediately grand challenge to the Graves. There comes the Showstopper, but it's already down as Duckwings finds his way onto Liz. Here comes the ultimate from Aksha, but it isn't going to do much. Teleport Mr. Lazy came, or no, just walk up for Mr. Lazy. Actually, not even a TP is Dylan Virus. Finds Aksha, but that's 200 years of IQ. As he basically one-shots the Pike. Can't be getting away from that one. Sario Rutgers still in the bot lane. Sario going to be chunked very low here by the big bomb. And overall, 1-for-1 on the top side. Still favor though to PSU. They will knock down here this tier 1 turret. So it looks like possible play still be made here. Still Shockwave available for Mr. Lazy, so quite dangerous if we get a grouped attack. However, 200 IQ. Doesn't yet have a 200-year play in his mind, so we'll just back off for now. And Penn State get away with the 5 plates top lane, the first turret gold, and we'll just disengage accordingly. We'll give up some of this topside jungle, more than likely to 200 IQ, but otherwise, very nice enough for Penn State White. Going to extend that gold lead all of a sudden with all these kills and turret plates going down to around 4,000 gold out of seemingly nowhere.
Yeah, it's just all the little advantages that come up, but as I say that, here's Pike trying to get a Bone Skewer. He misses. Graves going to walk away to the rest of his team. Fiora can't chase that. You can't engage that. So
ooh, but
I wouldn't expect anything here.
For the fight here, Duckling's going out on Liz. Execute comes through, and there's the gold from Virus. Can't find the second one on to Dude Bay. Has the flash to get away. 200 IQ decides to disengage rather than tempt fate against the Fiora, but now Duckling once in, low winner over the wall, repost, not gonna find as much as there comes the Hextech ultimatum, ulti coming through, canceled early, the shield gonna do a lot, but not enough. Shockwave comes through on a low 8 rim, the only Virus cutting back and through, kick back on the Dude Bay, to secure 2 more kills for Penn State White, and I hate Rutgers now is on the run as he's got a Pike stalking him down. Bomb gonna buy some more time, does a lot of damage, but doesn't secure the kill. Sario up here to secure this, to try to secure this mid lane turret, and Penn State White. Some of this stuff kind of looks like flips, but if it are, it's just coming off heads. And they're gonna increase their gold lead now to almost 6K at 15 minutes. A massive early game lead here for Penn State out of, again, almost nowhere. It's pretty much, you have a few random kills here and there, and then it's just CS differences across some lanes, and suddenly you're just up this much. I mean, the power of turret plating, I suppose.
turret plating as well as that Pike getting in positions and getting good picks there with his Bone Skewer.
True, the good old. I always do forget about the good old double your kill gold for every single execute he gets.
Yeah, and he's done it 3 times, probably. I can't say that for sure. He's done it maybe 3 times. That's still a lot of gold.
Whew.
But above all, the Fiora there, she walked in to what looked like a suicidal fight, but managed to keep herself alive through the riposte, through the vitals, long enough for Penn State to come and collapse and clean up 3 more kills and get, you know, even a bigger gold lead. And this mid turret's not looking good either. It's woo.
Can't even get Vision Fiora attacked so fast as Rutgers gonna try to look for a play here. 200 IQ does have that permanent invisibility, courtesy of terrain. Took that one from Evelyn's kit and made it slightly worse, but ooh. Dragon gonna be started up by Rutgers. I mean, they have the 2. Trying to stack up here, trying to levy that soul point, but it is the Rift Shield summoned in mid lane for Penn State. Gonna try to put some pressure there as well. And now it is just the Dragon fight. Penn State gonna retake the site. Dragon does reset a little bit, and it's gonna be a 5v5. Mr. Lazy, oddly enough, off on the flank of this Orianna, cannot levy the zoning pressure the champion normally affords. Dragon going down, 1700. Here comes a big bullet time. Smite does go over to Lumi. Dudebay taken out immediately. Now some disengage from Rutgers, trying to go through. Execute from Virus. Finds one. Duckling survives the auction ult as well. Bone Skewer not going to find its way on to low winner, but the slow does. Korean Gang going through. Finds Sonic Wave. Finds the slow. Cannot find the kill just yet. Virus going over. Another execute. Bone Skewer. Make it 3. And now looking for more as Akshan kites away. Virus coming up huge in these fights. Just needs to get over the wall, but 200 IQ does have the invisibility, so a little bit harder to find than most. And Penn State, they might not get the Dragon, but they got a 10,000 gold lead. And they might look to break open the inhibitor turret here, as only Virus can continue his push forward into the enemy base. And yep, that's turret down, and wisely, Penn State not going to go for that early inhib, not going to give Rutgers any reprieve, any chance to earn back their money. And the gold lead is going to continue to grow with this pillaging of the topside jungle.
The only Virus there was amazing. He went so balls to the wall, and it paid off so heavily there for him. The Pike, of course, a very high-risk, high-reward champion. The only Virus is seeing nothing but reward here. He's got 6 kills more than anyone on the team. Exactly what you want to see when you've got a Pike with you. He's got 11 out of 14 kill participation, and remember there were a couple solo kills going on in the top lane. He's just been all over the place, and he is putting in work. Just how do you zone this guy out? He's invisible. He clears your wards. Just wow.
Yep. Unsung hero. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but of course there are 3 dragons coming out here for Rutgers, so that is still dangerous. I don't know if it's 10,000 gold lead difference dangerous enough, but it's still something to look for.
Yep, it is the Mountain Soul, so the strongest Drake Soul currently in the game. We're not in preseason yet, thankfully, so I'm not going to have to learn what those other Drakes do. I'll hold my thought there. Low Wind Ridden finds Virus.
Oh,
and like ships in the night.
That's how you react to Camille. She didn't see that coming, which, frankly, you can't. He could go any direction with that.
Yep. And I was saying, does put a bit of an interesting position where you have a 10k gold lead as Penn State White, but you're still having to kind of bow to the whims and wants of Rutgers as pick on the low red does not get the dodge this time. Is kick away, Sonic Wave to follow, but Korean Gang now in enemy territory. There comes the bomb, the flash away. We'll bring him to safety for now, and Penn State White doesn't look like they want to commit anymore. And they will just look for the disengage.
I'm not sure what Penn State's trying for here. There's very few objectives in that area.
Yeah, Baron has spawns. They can go up toward top side and try to levy vision there, but yeah, kind of interesting. Penn State, even with the gold lead, still has to play around Rutgers in terms of macro decisions. They've not been the first to rotate to any of these bot drags. The first 2 are excusable. You didn't have the bot pressure. You were sending Virus topside to really try to help out with Duckwings, help out with Mr. Lazy. But the third Drake, I mean, that's Penn State to set up for. I mean, you have all of this gold. You have a massively winning mid lane. Your bot lane is doing perfectly fine. Virus is everywhere. I mean, Sariel almost stole the Drake himself with that massive bullet time in the last fight, but he might be out of time here in mid lane as 200 IQ going in. Flash forward from Dudebay, and yep, that's all she wrote for Sariel. Overextended without help. The Akshan comes in for the shutdown, and that is not necessarily a game-changing kill for the side of Rutgers. They can't really pressure around Baron still, but certainly at least peace of mind knowing that Penn State can't go and do it immediately with Fiora in that bottom lane.
Now, I would say that that is a potentially game-changing kill. Not directly, but if you look at the timers, MF is going to have to go straight to Dragon if they want to try to contest this in a minute, which means that Rutgers is going to be able to probably get the inside track on, sorry, did I say Baron? Dragon. They're going to be able to get the inside track on Baron. Oh my goodness. Dragon is Baron now. They're both really big here for Rutgers, but Dragon is super important in my opinion. And so I think they're going to have the inside track there, which could be dangerous for Penn State. They've just taken, you know, a little bit too much nonchalance with this Dragon, and it's dangerous.
Could see it the other way around, though. You could be right with your misspeaking, as Rutgers could just go for the Baron here. I mean, they're on Soul Point. They do not necessarily need to fight Penn State if they don't want to. They can very much the same. Just go for the Baron. They have a pretty quick Baron, all honesty, with the Graves, with the Camille's. Oh, Mr. Lazy trying to find the pick on a low win rate Ribbon. Has some healing, but it's not nearly enough. But there's a massive Ziggs bomb. Finds a shutdown onto Mr. Lazy. Dude Bay, though, going to get burst down immediately. Korean Gank unstoppable now, possibly looking for more. Looking for the Sonic Wave on a 200 IQ. Bounced away. Sonic Wave connects, but doesn't want to go in any further. Duckwings wants to get off the reset, and Penn State still going to come out at advantage despite losing the mid laner for this Dragon. It looks like it's just going to be the Dragon secured. Rutgers going to sit around and watch as their Soul Drake disappears. It looked like they're the ones getting the pick. Unfortunately, this time around, it's the shoe on the other foot, as Low Winter Ribbon and Dude Bay both go down. And Penn State get the Drake without having to trade for Baron.
And that Dragon secure there for Penn State gives them another 5 minutes to kind of flex their gold lead without having to worry so much about a potential Dragon Soul kind of throwing a wrench in the works. So now we should be seeing plays around Baron. We can already see Ducklings down the bottom lane pushing it out, but he did burn his teleport there to help secure the Dragon. So he's going to have to try to get together with his team if they want to take some sort of 5v5 near this Baron.
Yep.
That being said, Pike is looking.
Yeah,
he's searching.
Baron definitely the next objective here on the map. I mean, Ducklings not going to be present for it. Let's be honest here. This is a Fiora. This is the side lane champion of side lane champions. Not titled the Grand Duelist for nothing. As, yeah, Low Winter finding that out the hard way as Ducklings grabs a Vital and a few Iron Spike procs and almost just straight up kills him without the ultimate. And after seeing his teammate go through that 200 he says, maybe I don't all in the Fiora right now. Maybe I go back to my tower and see if I get one with Gale Force forward. Ducklings in trouble. Oh, no, it's disaster. This Ducklings overstays tremendously long. TP in from Low Winter Ribbon as the Baron started up. Penn State, you cannot do this one. Your side lane pressure is completely out of the game. And now you're on the side of Rutgers. You have the chance to try to pressure on this Baron. You have the priority as Shockwaves come through. It's only on a Dubate though, and in comes Low Winter Ribbon, dodging a lot of the bullet time with the Hextech ultimate. Korean Gank in though, he's suppressed. Taken down, does have the stopwatch, and there comes the first reset. Looking for two, Dude Bay, the second, and it's still only Virus looking to pop off for the team. 200 IQ plays, oh, gets it on Sario with the fail flash, and now it's a double kill for 200 IQ instead. Virus still has reset available as Baron started up by Rutgers. Virus checking back in, Korean Gank is very low, 200 IQ going low, with the execute miss, and that's 2 revives for Rutgers. And now Baron almost assuredly secured. It's Fiora and Korean Gank against the world, and Korean Gank is one auto attack away from death. He has gotten in behind. Rutgers doesn't know he's there. Might look for the steal. Baron down to 2K, down to 1K, down to 1600. Shockwave comes in, into the pit, stolen away! He gets it from behind! And now Low Win Rate Ribbon diving into the pit will secure the kill onto Lee Sin. Looking as well, and the Duckwing still has 3 members strong. Teleport in here for Mr. Lazy to try to secure this one away, and Penn State, after what was a massive throw on the bot side around the Baron, somehow, some way through Korean Gank, still managed to get away with the objective.
Duckwings went in there and made the perfect distraction for Korean Gank to get in there and get that kill, and we all know that Lee Sin following up on his Q is an execute, so you got that damage spike plus the smite. If you don't know that that's coming, that's really easy to steal objectives away. And Duckwings just had the balls to go in there and set that up, and Penn State's reaping the reward there. The gold lead had shrunk to almost 8K. It's back to 10K because of that Baron take.
Yep, Mr. Lazy as well, missing the shockwave there, looking for a solo kill on a low win rate ribbon. Not going to be finding that one. But Penn State still massively advantaged. Rutgers had found their window, they had found their opportunity, and Korean Gang with a pretty much massive outplay. But that one is, that's a blind hook on an invisible lock shot. Excuse me, Virus, but you're going to have to toggle off the scripts for the competitive match. Thank you very much, sir. Still Lumi looking to pursue on Asario. It is alone, but Fortune Red Spike coming down. There comes the hook shot, and it will not be enough to get him out of there. Sariel still managed to trade 1 for 2, but the revive coming through means that Rutgers still have the advantage. Just 50 seconds till the Drake. Still, though, Korean Gang finds one, trying to find 2 on the return. Suppression comes in with the showstopper, and Korean Gang going low. Great use of the chem tank to grab the slow, and that's another kill for Rutgers. And now Penn State once again with the side lane picks in a very precarious position. Ducklings, though, uncontested in the side lane. Low win rate ribbon. Too low of a damage threshold to really do anything to this Fiora at this point, despite the grievous wounds, despite the ignite. It will be more than likely Penn State walking out here. Ducklings not necessarily opting into the 2v1 this time around, but Mr. Lazy might be unintentionally as he gets blinded. Dude Bay can't find a haymaker though after the shockwave hits. Will get chunked lower and lower here. Ignite comes through. Ooh, flash forward, can't get anything. Gets an area proc, still looking for a command attack. Dude Bay coming through his Duckwings, had the TP from behind, and that will be 2 quick kills from the Fiora. I said it might be Penn State having trouble with the Drake contest as they got down early, but now Rutgers is the one overstaying in the side lane. This seems to be the bane of everyone's existence here this game. And so Penn State will defuse yet another attempt at the Mountain Soul and claim their second Drake of the game. It's 12,000 thereabout, about 11,500. The current gold lead as this Baron continues to push toward its expiry date. Duckwings with the Hull Breaker, grabs tier 2 turret as he's now under fire. Hook shot not going to be engaged upon. And so Penn State will get pushed into mid lane. Top lane pushed out there by I Hate Rutgers. It looks like resets coming in across the board. So just going to be, again, a little bit slow here. And honestly, next to Radio, bit of an interesting game here because we've been around 10k gold leads for the last 8 minutes. And we haven't seen Penn State be able to close it out, be able to really cleanly make plays across the map here. A little concerning as we continue to get later and later on this game, and especially with this auction still sitting at 12-4.
I think that just comes down to what we're looking for these team comps and the fact that the Dragons are so heavily skewed towards Rutgers. As we said earlier, the team comp from Penn State just doesn't really do the 5v5. The Fiora wants to sit in the side lane, especially now with Hullbreaker. You know, Pike isn't going to be starting any things. It's only picks. So they're relying upon Rutgers to give them the opportunity to get some picks and actually push things. And Rutgers has been doing a pretty decent job of not giving that to them, with the exception of the last Dragon, where they kind of handed the opportunity back to Penn State there, or rather sacrificed their ability to get what should have, in my opinion, been a pretty secure Dragon Soul there. But other than that, yeah, it's very difficult for Penn State to actually be proactive on this map. And when Fiora just keeps getting caught in the side lanes, there's just so little there. So the 10k gold, while it's very important, it's meaning a lot less when you're not able to actually get things pushing forward on this map. So now everything just comes down to objectives. And there's nothing up right now. So what's going to happen? We're just going to keep sitting around here looking for picks, setting up vision, and playing, you know, good old standard solo queue League of Legends, where you just try to kill each other all game.
Yep, it's just going to be side lane pressure right here from Penn State. I mean, they do still have a lot of gold. So can kind of levy the siege power on when they really want to put it down. Shockwave finds 3 though. No bullet time, interestingly enough, so we're not going to engage, but that's a massive amount of chunks down. Should be this bot lane tier 3. The only Virus going to take that one up, and they might look to crack an inhibitor as well as top lane pushed in. So although it's not a team fight, although it's not the kills that maybe Mr. Lazy was looking for, Serial not in position. Will grab the 1 inhibitor, possibly 2 as Korean Gang gets hit with the ultimate. Bomb goes over the top, going to grab a little bit of damage. Dube going forward with the speed up, looking for the chem tank, can't find anything just yet. So Ducklings getting 2 inhibitors by himself for free. Doing IQ plays, now looking for the 1v1, but that is the Grand Duelist. Gets a lot of damage with the help of Rutgers. And now Low Winner Riven trying to find it, does grab the attack sweep. Graves ultimately not going to find it, but it is a massive shutdown now on a low-win Riven. But honestly, Duck Wings, he came in, he had did his job, overstayed a little long, and ended up paying the price for it. Still with 7 seconds to the Baron, 2 minutes to Drake. Should be too fine, and very much worth it. 3 inhibitors down.
Yeah, I guess a 3-man Orianna ulti without needing a delivery device, that kind of counts as a pick. And there you saw it. Penn State kind of rolled through with their plan, somehow getting 3 inhibitors. Fiora, what are your numbers, dude?
Hullbreaker.
My goodness.
200% damage.
Yeah, fair enough.
200% damage to structures on a champion who already did ludicrous damage to structures.
Just gone. I knew they were going to lose the top side. I did not expect the mid lane inhibitor to go down too, but now this is just almost easy mode from Penn State. They've got all the advantages. 3 inhibitors down, Baron's up. They're probably going to go take that for free. They've got the 12k gold lead. Are we at still? Yeah, 12k gold lead.
12k, yep.
So it's just, this should kind of be the end here. Of course, anything can happen, but it's looking really good for Penn State after that one slight mistake there from Rutgers.
Yep, and now Penn State should be able to level down this Baron pretty easily, even with the Ziggs, even with the Graves and the Akshan, some of these incredible wave clear champions. Very, very hard to really push out of their base, so Dragon and Baron more than likely going to be Penn State's objective. Of course, PSU White still don't have that Dragon Soul, lost that third one over to Rutgers initially. Instead, though, pings on a Baron. They're going to let Duckling Soul this one out. I mean, they have the pressure of 3 inhibs down, so there's really not much you can do to contest this one. So yeah, Penn State going to elect to go for the Baron first. Dragon up in 30 seconds here. We'll see. Should be able to get this Baron mostly down by the time that spawns. And yeah, we'll be able to burn through, go do both objectives, cross our T's, dot our I's, and on this Baron should be the push to end the game.
Absolutely. If they do anything else there, I'm going to say that there must be some match fixing or something going on, because this is one of the most straightforward wins you've got coming up here. You've got lanes pushing in from all sides. You've got every advantage you could ever want. I can't see them not just steamrolling in here. That's the only thing left to do. And, I mean, Duckwings is only halfway there. He's just running past the outer tower for red here. But it shouldn't matter. Penn State should just kind of walk in here and take everything.
Unfortunately, Wave's a little distinct here from Penn State. They have one coming in now, so Rutgers does have the opportunity to kind of just burst one down and then transition over to the next. His top side, now the target, mid lane pushing in as well, though. Ooh, great bullet time by Sariel trying to clear out the way, but now he's in trouble. Goes to the J. Big shockwave finds just about everybody of importance, and now the resets start coming through for Virus. Kick away, and there's another kill. Double kill for the Pike. Looking for a third. Finds it. No problem. Triple kill by the Sun. Doesn't get the quadra. The shutdown gonna go there on Alyssa. The kill, though, comes through from Penn State White. The Nexus just icing on the cake, and Penn State White will clean up this series 2-0 over Rutgers JV Red. And they locked themselves a spot in CLOL playoffs.
Yeah, that Pike shutting down the Akshan there completely threw the door closed on any hope that Rutgers had there at possibly getting a revive off and maybe miracling it, you know, to go another 5 to 10 minutes, hopefully get some dragons there. But my goodness, what a game. We said it was going to be a fighting game, and it's what's happened. There were a lot of skirmishes, a lot of picks going on from both sides. Some questionable decisions coming out from both teams macro-wise, but like we said earlier,
macro-wise, I'm not even sure if it was the problem is getting picked, not looking really into your mini-map or where enemy team can collapse. I mean, of course, there's a lot of shenanigans Akshan can do with that. He has the invisibility, can sneak up on you pretty easily, but even so, I mean, Penn State White, you get to an early, I can't even call it like it's a very well-played game from Penn State White regardless. Duckwings up the top lane, doing very well on the Fiora. Got solo killed a few times. A little unlucky. But Virus having an absolute monster performance. Mr. Lazy having a very, very, very good performance on the Orianna, especially with those 3-4-man shockwaves as the game continued to roll forward. Started increasing in frequency. So you know something's going right with the Ori there. But very nicely played game. A little bit saved by Korean Gank on the Baron steal. Makes up for the mistake. Makes sure that Rutgers can't get back in the game. So the mid-game, certainly a lot of things to think about for Penn State White as they continue to move forward in CSL. They got a lot to work through. They still have, I think, one more week of the regular season. Someone in chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's one more week in the regular season that they play, and then playoffs. So they have locked their spot now, advancing to 5-0. So still undefeated in the series tally. Very nicely played game. Also, Rutgers, I mean, hats off to you guys. Your game one, a little unfortunate. I can't really comment too much because I didn't see what happened. Because my building was apparently on fire for 15 minutes. However, game 2, they come back around. Again, comp identity, definitely something to look at with. But all in all, very nicely done fighting back there in game 2. Especially have to point out, kudos to the 200 IQ in the mid lane. Made the Akshan look very nice for most of the game. Of course, you have some misplays here and there, some overcommitments, but nothing that we haven't seen before, nothing too detrimental overall. Kind of kept his team in the game for as long as they were in there. Same with low win rate Riven up in the top lane, doing a very nice job. Even from like 1-5, I think he was at in the mid game. Still able to be super threatening on Penn State.
Oh, yeah.
Really putting out some damage, putting out some kill threat on these Penn State carries and locking them down especially. But fighting back from a 12K goal deficit at 20 minutes is not an easy thing, and you extended that game all the way to 30-minute plus. So kudos to you, Rutgers. You played that game just about. Once you got to the 20-minute mark, you played that game just about as well as you could with that one screw-up bot side really taking you out of it. Either way, very nicely played by both teams. Again, best switches on to Rutgers and Penn State White as CSL continues. Again, one more week of the regular season until playoffs, so still plenty of league to play. And then we will be good to go. But Penn State White gonna take the 2-0 in this best-of-3 series, showing that they truly do deserve to be in the playoffs. Continuing again the undefeated series, and they'll be looking for one more week to secure the 6-0 hopes for all of us here on Penn State League. Until next time, I've been Infamous Trash, joined here by Next Radio. Thank you very much again for hopping midway through Game 1.
No, man, happy to help.
Yep, absolutely great to have you. But that's all we got here for coverage tonight. Again, final score, Penn State White 2, Rutgers 0. And that'll be it for us here this evening. Keep tuned for more PSU LCS coverage here, as per usual as the week goes on. Only got a few more weeks of matches to play on that season, so stay tuned, and we'll catch you guys back next time on The Rift.